Hey everyone. So, if you've ever filed an I-485 after your I-130 got approved, you know the excitement that comes with thinking, yes, my green card process is finally moving. But then, nothing. Weeks turn into months, and you're left staring at your case status like, is it stuck? Did something go wrong? Trust me, I get it. It's frustrating, confusing, and honestly, a little nerve-wracking. And that's exactly why I wanted to make this video for you today. Because so many immigrants like us hit this wall, the I-485 delay, and nobody seems to explain why it happens or what you can actually do about it. You start reading forums, asking friends, or Googling, and suddenly you're drowning in advice that's either outdated or just overwhelming. But here's the good news. It's not as hopeless as it feels. There are real reasons your case might be delayed after your I-130 approval. And even better, there are practical, smart steps you can take right now that could help move things along, or at least give you a little peace of mind while you wait. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. I'm going to break it down for you in a way that's simple, honest, and, most importantly, actionable. Now, before we get into the specifics, I want you to take a deep breath because I know how stressful this process can be. You're not alone. Thousands of people are navigating this same journey, and having the right information can make all the difference between feeling stuck and feeling in control. So, whether your case has been pending for a few months or it feels like it's been forever, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why delays happen, but you'll also have some clear next steps to take, things that can save you time, stress, and maybe even a few sleepless nights. And hey, if you find this video helpful at any point, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps others in our community find this information too. All right, let's get into it and figure out what's really going on with your I-485 delay after your I-130 approval. All right. So now that we've taken a deep breath and acknowledged just how frustrating it can feel when your I-485 seems to be stuck after your I-130 approval, let's get into what's really happening behind the scenes. First off, it's important to understand that USCIS isn't just randomly delaying cases for no reason. There's a method, even if it feels painfully slow from the outside. Sometimes, the delay comes from things as simple as a backlog at your local service center or a high volume of applications. Other times, it might be that they're waiting on additional information to make sure everything in your file lines up perfectly. And believe me, that part can feel like a black hole because, from your perspective, it just looks like time is standing still. You might be thinking, but my I-130 was approved. Doesn't that mean my I-485 should move quickly? And that's a totally fair thought. The thing is, these are two separate processes, even though they're connected. The I-130 basically tells USCIS, yes, this person qualifies as a family member, but the I-485 is the actual adjustment of status application. That process involves background checks, security screenings, biometrics, and sometimes even additional requests for evidence. Each of these steps can take time, and unfortunately, the clocks on them don't always line up the way we wish they would. Now, if you're feeling anxious because you've been checking your case status every single day, or maybe even multiple times a day, you are not alone. I promise you, that's one of the most common things people do when they feel like they're in limbo. It's natural. We all want reassurance that everything is moving forward. But here's the thing. Constantly refreshing the USCIS case status page can actually make the wait feel worse. Your case isn't going to magically jump ahead because you clicked refresh 100 times. What's more helpful is knowing the reasons why delays happen and, more importantly, what you can do about it. One of the biggest reasons delays occur is because of requests for additional evidence, often called RFEs. USCIS might need clarification on something from your initial application. It could be as simple as a missing document, or maybe they need a bit more proof of your relationship or eligibility. If you've received an RFE, it can feel intimidating, but don't panic. Think of it as USCIS saying, hey, we just need a little more information before we can move forward. The key is to respond as quickly and accurately as possible. And if you haven't received an RFE, but your case has been pending for a long time, that doesn't mean your application is ignored. It simply means your file is waiting in line for the next step in the process. Another factor that can cause delays is background checks. These are a normal part of the I-485 process, and sometimes they take longer than expected, depending on the complexity of your personal history. Maybe you've lived in multiple countries, or maybe there's a need for additional verification from another government agency. These checks are meant to protect everyone and ensure the system works properly. But from your perspective, they can feel like an endless wait. The important thing here is patience and also keeping your information updated with USCIS. If they need to contact you for any reason, make sure your address and phone number are current. That simple step can prevent extra delays. Something else to be aware of is the potential for overall case backlogs at USCIS. You might hear about this a lot online, and it's true. Sometimes the agency just has more applications than they can process quickly. It's not personal, and it doesn't mean your application is being ignored. It just means that they're dealing with a volume of work, and your file is moving as fast as the system allows. Knowing this can help ease some of the anxiety that comes from feeling like you're the only one stuck. Spoiler alert, you're not. Thousands of people are in the same situation, and understanding that you're part of a larger process can be strangely comforting. Now, here's the part where a lot of people get frustrated, but also where you can take some control. While you can't make USCIS speed up the process on their own timeline, you can make sure you're not accidentally slowing yourself down. That means double-checking your forms, responding to RFEs promptly, and staying proactive with any communication from USCIS. Sometimes people let months slip by without realizing that a small misnotice or a forgotten deadline is what's holding up their case. Staying on top of these things gives you peace of mind and shows that you're serious about keeping the process moving. There's also the human element in all of this. It's okay to feel stressed, frustrated, or even angry at times. Immigration processes are complicated, and it's completely natural to experience a range of emotions. What helps is finding a way to channel that energy into productive steps rather than just worrying. You can keep a small journal of important dates, notes on your application, and any correspondence you've had with USCIS. Trust me, having a clear picture of where you are in the process can reduce a lot of the anxiety. And if you ever feel stuck, reaching out to a trusted immigration lawyer for guidance can make a world of difference. Sometimes a quick consultation can save weeks, or even months, of waiting and uncertainty. I also want to talk about one strategy that's often overlooked: patience paired with verification. Yes, patience. I know it sounds cliche, but hear me out. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means understanding that there's a system in place and staying ready to act when it's your turn. Verification means double-checking your information, making sure you're eligible, and confirming that USCIS has all it needs. Combining these two can make your waiting period much more manageable. Instead of feeling helpless, you'll feel empowered because you know you've done everything you can on your side. And speaking of empowerment, here's a little tip that can make a big difference. If your case is significantly delayed, don't be afraid to use tools like the USCIS request system. This allows you to inquire about your case if it's past normal processing times. Sometimes just sending a polite, professional request can trigger an update or provide clarity on what's happening. Remember, you're not bothering anyone. USCIS expects people to check in when reasonable delays happen, and doing so shows that you're proactive and organized. I also want to remind you that community support is key. Talking to others going through the same process can provide emotional relief and even practical tips. You'd be surprised how much sharing your experience with friends, family, or online support groups can help you feel less isolated. Hearing me too from someone who truly understands what you're going through is incredibly validating, and it can give you new insights on steps you might not have considered. Before we wrap up, I want to circle back to the most important idea here. You are not powerless in this process. Yes, USCIS timelines can be slow, and yes, delays happen, but there are actions you can take that make a real difference. Staying organized, responding quickly to requests, verifying your information, using official inquiry channels, and leaning on community support. These are all ways to keep your process moving forward and to keep your stress levels in check. And hey, if you found any of this advice helpful so far, or if you're feeling a little more confident about navigating your I-485 delay, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It helps others who are in the same situation find this information and reminds you that you're not alone. Trust me, every like builds a little more community support for everyone navigating these long, sometimes frustrating, immigration processes. So, hang in there. Keep track of your case, stay proactive, and remember that every step you take towards staying organized is a step toward peace of mind. Your green card journey is unique, but you're not walking it alone. And with the right approach, the waiting period doesn't have to be paralyzing, it can be empowering.